My mother was a Christian, and every time I went to her about anything through the years, I'd go to her and complain about this not going right and that not going right, and she always said, "Kimberly, you need Jesus." That was her standard answer, and for years I'm like, "Yep, I know, but tell me what else I need." And one year, that was what I knew. She was right. I went to church, and the pastor said, if you are, I forget the exact question he asked, but I remember thinking, I know that that's the right answer, but I want to enjoy my life first. And that night in church, I heard Jesus ask me after the pastor asked his question, "But are you having fun now?" And I was like, no. So I immediately said yes to Jesus. I knew he spoke to me very clearly that that was the time. I came to Eagle's Nest 29 years ago, actually this past March. And again, it was my mom. I had been attending church over on the west side of the county where I was from, and I moved over to Milton near my mom. She had heard about Eagle's Nest. It had just opened maybe 2 or 3 months before that. And she said, I think you should try this church. And I was pretty shy back then. And she said, I'll go with you that first time. So she did. She went with me that first Sunday. And as soon as I sat in the chairs, and it was in the whole old hardware store, I knew, and again, it was almost that audible, this is home. This is home for you. And I've been here for 29 years. I did not notice him the first time. There was one time, Pastor Bill had said to Drew, you need to pay attention to the blonde in the back that leaves as soon as church is over, because I was very shy. So as I sat right by the door, and as soon as church was over, I ran out the door. And so one Sunday, I was getting ready to make a beeline out the door, and another guy came over and stopped me and chatted with me. And by the time I got outside, Drew was standing in front of my car. He claims he didn't know it was my car, because I was like, who is this dude standing at my car? He was just standing right outside the door, but it was in front of my car. So he just chatted a little bit and asked if he could call me, and I said sure. And I've been a stay-at-home mom for most of my life, and I haven't had a ton of jobs, but again, probably 4 or 5 times in a job area, he has given me very clear direction. Those kinds of decisions that aren't specifically in the Word. We have our 10 commandments, the do's and the don'ts, but there are a lot of things that are not covered specifically in the Word. And in those areas, like, do I take this job or do I not take this job? And he's given me clear direction. I was working at the Pregnancy Care Center. This was before kids. And just out of the blue, a friend of mine said, there's a job opening in my office. I'd like you to come interview for it. So I thought, okay, well, here's an open door. Let me walk through it. It just seemed like just this gift dropped from heaven. And so many people told me, yeah, that's a great opportunity. And for about a week, I told them I need to pray for about a week and let you know. And the entire week, I could not get peace. My practical mind said, this is an obvious choice. And the whole week, I just prayed and prayed and could not get peace. And I finally knew God was saying, I know you don't understand, but don't take this job. So I turned it down. And within the month, it was just me and the director who were running the Pregnancy Care Center, along with a lot of volunteers. Within the month, she went to the doctor for a routine test that went horribly wrong, and she was out of commission for 6 months. So there for a while, I was the only one running the center. And if I had taken that job, it was just confirmation from God that, yeah, you heard me. You're not crazy, like some people were telling me. Another time, I was teaching, loved my job, loved all the kids, and the teachers, and I got another job opportunity. A friend of mine had offered me to go, she was starting a new business and she wanted me to help her run it. And I had told her years before, whenever you're ready to do this, because I was a stay-at-home mom then. So she came to me after I'd been teaching 1.5 years, and I'm like, really, Lord, why now? Why now? You know how much I love this job. So again, I prayed about it, and he said, yeah, quit your teaching job and take this job. So it was the exact opposite of before, but again, I knew that it was him directing me, and you know, it was him, and it was a job that I loved. So I can never get comfortable, because God is not like, you're always going to do this every time. It's, you know, you have to have that abiding relationship with him, because one time he may say, yes, go speak to your friend about me, tell them about me. But the next time it might be, no, now's not the time. He's the only one who knows every circumstance and all the little tiny details. So when we get comfortable in thinking, okay, this is the way he told me to do it before, so next time I'm going to do it exactly the same way, that's not who he is. I personally would like it better, because it would be easier. Okay, you give me a set of rules, I'm going to follow them. I'm going to do everything I can. But, you know, he wants us to have that relationship with him so that we know it's him and he is directing us, and we're not making, because when we do that, we end up making our own God. This is the God, I know him, I understand him, and I know what he wants. When we get like that, that's when he's going to shake it up. Make sure we're paying attention and listening. When I took care of my dad for a couple of years with dementia and then eventually lost him, I had to quit 2 jobs back to back that I loved. So it was a time of extreme humility for me. When I came here, I had just lost my dad and just was helping at first for Christmas, just as a favor to Patty. And you know, she knows I love to decorate, and so when I came, it was just because I was still very raw from losing my dad, and especially in that way. And so it was a very good, slow transition. And in that time, I was just I kind of felt like I was in limbo, yet at the same time, I really enjoyed what I was doing. I just started realizing that so many of my passions, which are studying God's Word. I love to teach women Bible studies and create Bible studies, and I love to study the Word. And I kind of felt like that was the direction God was taking me in. And I realized as I was praying about the kids' ministry that He has blessed me with all of those gifts, but for all ages. And who was I to pick and choose? Like, okay, I will do it for the women, but not the children. And what better time to start teaching them how important the Word is. And one of my passions that I know is from God is to take the fear out of studying the Word. I mean, when you start digging in, a lot of people think, oh, it's too much, I don't understand. And part of what I love to do is take that fear away. Like, you don't have to be perfect. It's just having a willingness to look at His Word and let us all come together and see what He's really saying. And I mean, again, what better time to do that than when the children are small, and teach them that the Word is not something that is so huge you can't understand or be afraid to even read it or understand it. It's the perfect time. So that's when I know, okay, Lord, this is you. The guilt can overtake us sometimes of making a wrong choice or a wrong decision. He uses them. He uses every misstep, and thank God, because, I think no wonder we sometimes want to get under the covers and never get up if we think every little mistake we make is going to be catastrophic. That's just not the case. He is much bigger than that.